and you saw so many other horses heading on you. There's heat in the arena from the amount of people, and they're so close to you, and it's loud, and the music is loud. So it's really, I remember after World Cup, we went to Hagen, which is an incredible, huge show, but that freestyle felt like I was riding in a backyard, honestly. Like Diva could have fallen asleep out there.
And just so everyone listening knows, like Hagen is one of the first European outdoor shows. And so everyone comes, there's like, it's like in America, it's like Devon, there's like shopping. And so that's so funny that you're like, it was like nothing after like the World Cup was just like.
Do you love dressage? Are you looking to inspire your ride? Do you long to learn the secrets of truly great riders? Yes? Then you're in the right place. Join classically trained, internationally competitive dressage rider JJ Tate as she brings inspired conversations, in-depth discussions, and a healthy dose of humor to the world of dressage. Join JJ and her new generation of classical riders in this adventure called Dressage Life. In this episode, JJ sits down with up-and-coming dressage superstar Anna Buffini. Get to know Anna as she chats with JJ about her recent successes in Germany, the tough road to get there, how she balances life, and her take on coping with the pressures of top-level competition. From an early start in gymnastics to the best ride of her life in Hagen, Anna shares her struggles, her heartbreak, and her love affair with horses and the sport of dressage. And now, here's JJ.
So welcome everybody. I've got Anna Buffini here, and I'm so excited to share with you guys this really special young lady. She is one of America's newest shining stars. She and her Sunday boy were one of the most successful and decorated young rider and under 25 partnerships of all time. In 2014, they swept the young rider division at the national championships and then moved up to the U25 and won the festival again in 2016, as well as coming in second with her other horse, Wilton, too. In 2017, they were again the top U25 pair at the Nations Cup in Wellington. And now with her Davinia Ladus, she competed last year in the European Tour, including Aachen, and had a very successful season in Florida. This last April, the pair competed in the World Cup in Leipzig, Germany. She also has another top mount, Fiantini, waiting in the wings. So big, exciting things are in store for this talented girl from California. So welcome to Dressage Life with me, JJ Tate.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be on.
Yeah. So, I mean, we just first have to start. I mean, we're going to get into like how you started riding and all these things. But like, can we first just talk about the World Cup? Because that was so exciting and so cool to like watch you get qualified in Florida. And then it's a little bit special. I mean, I know I didn't go there in person, but like also being in Germany, I was like, oh my God, like the Americans are here. And just to see you really like shine, it was just so great. So can you tell us a little bit about the World Cup and what that experience was for you?
Yeah. So my first thing I realized was that it's a really big deal. I knew it was going in, but I think I was so focused on qualifying, I didn't take a second to realize I was going to the World Cup and there's only 17 dressage riders and 38 jumpers and a few vaulters and a few drivers. And I was like,
in the whole entire world.
Yeah. I did not process that for a second before I went there. And I showed up and I was like, whoa, this is a big deal.
That is so great. Well,
yeah, and that was my first impression.
And wow, what a venue. I mean, I think a little bit too, like after COVID and everything like shut down, like, and I know the audiences are always more full and everything is like a packed house in Europe, but like, what was that atmosphere like?
It was unbelievable. So it's a convention center where they hold like business meetings, and like in America, they'd hold volleyball tournaments there and stuff. And they literally just created this horse venue inside these concrete walls, which was amazing. And the stadium was the coolest thing. It's like, it was on my Instagram. It's just like this, I don't know, 10 to 15,000 seats surrounding this arena. And it was unbelievable. And like you said, it's such a big deal, especially in Germany, especially after COVID. People were buzzing. There were so many people during like the freestyle night. I mean, I could barely walk through the sea of people. It was unbelievable. And there were just as many people for dressage as jumping on the freestyle night as there were for jumping on the
Yay.
final night.
Yeah.
And that was the coolest thing. I was like, yes, because jumpers always get more crowd. Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, everyone here, like in Europe, really is an educated crowd. So did you feel any extra pressure knowing that, like, you know, the audience also kind of knows the sport a little bit?
You 100% feel that pressure. Thankfully, I was able to compete in Europe last year, and my first Europe show was Rotterdam, and then my second Europe show was Aachen. So I definitely realized the pressure I was going to be under. So thankfully, I had that experience already. If it was my first Europe show, it would have been so overwhelming. Because the one thing I didn't realize was how many people watched the warm up. I mean, it must have been 1,000 people at the warm up, the freestyle night, and there's a big screen, and it's just unbelievable. So it was such an experience, and it was you get so close to your horse in those things because you're just like in war, in battle, and you're both nervous. And she's such a warrior. And my favorite thing about her is that she's so brave. And this was the scaredest or most tense she's ever been in her life. Yeah. And that's just such a testament to how hard the indoor World Cup arena is. That again, you know, I've heard about but never got to experience. And you saw it, so many other horses heading on you. There's heat in the arena from the amount of people, and they're so close to you, and it's loud, and the music is loud. So it's really, I remember after World Cup, we went to Hagen, which is an incredible, huge show, but that freestyle felt like I was riding in a backyard, honestly. Like Diva could have fallen asleep out there.
And just so everyone listening knows, like Hagen is one of the first European outdoor shows. And so everyone comes, there's like, it's like in America, it's like Devon, there's like shopping. And so that's so funny that you're like, it was like nothing after like honestly, the World Cup was just like even on Clip My Horse, you know, it was just like, you saw like you guys in the arena and then just like the stands just like packed. And I was just like, whew, that's a lot of energy in that arena right now. And you were so cool. Okay, so let's talk about like, how did you handle that from like an emotional standpoint? And like, did you get nervous or do you get nervous?
Yeah, no, that's a great question because I think it's something that's plays so much into these huge shows and that not a lot of people talk about or like get willing to talk about. Yes, I was absolutely nervous. I think just like everybody, but I think if you have nerves, it means you want it. So it's good. Thankfully, so my dad is a public speaker. And since I was like 2 years old, he's slung me on stage to go sing in front of thousands of people. I've had to Irish dance. I've had to dress up like, I think the TLC girls and do like, don't go chasing water. Yeah, like crazy stuff. So
I already love your dad. I love your dad.
Yeah. Little did I know that would be actually preparing me for my career. So thankfully, I'm quite used to being in front of crowds and comfortable in front of them. So that really plays a huge part into being able to go in there. And in the end, like I'm always saying this, but it's the same sandbox, it's the same test, it's the same horse. And like wherever you are with your horse, you're home. We've trained so much together. You have to just focus on your horse. You can't worry about what people are thinking. You can't worry about who's watching. So I remember I love to connect with people and like see them and smile. And if there's like little girls around the arena, it killed me not to look at them and smile. But I remember I was like, I cannot look at a single person in this warm up because I will like lose my focus and I'll start to think about, or do they think my hand is too heavy? Do they think I'm bending too much? You know, because they're all educated and it's easy to get inside of other people's head. So a huge thing for me was like not looking around. I didn't look at one person. It was all a blur in the warm up. And then same thing when I went into that arena. I remember going in and for a second I was like, whoa, this is massive. And I could feel Diva too. She's just, I mean, and Mare's also, and a chestnut mare. So we got all that going on. And I remember as I passed the judge at C, I was just able to focus and lock in. And the big nerves really went away, and I was just able to ride the horse, and which was super helpful because she was very nervous, and I think it was we had a few mistakes, and like and you can't control it. They're not machines, they're horses, and so I
Yeah.
don't fault her for anything. And obviously, I'm a younger Grand Prix rider too, so I need to ride better and learn how to ride better as well. But she was just genuinely super nervous, and so I think even though we had bobbles, we had two like very respectable tests, and I couldn't be more happy with her. I think drawing first really sucks, honestly.
Yeah. Yes.
That was the worst part of everything. But besides that, it was incredible.
That's so great. And then what, like 2 weeks later was Hagen? And
Yes,
how, I
10
mean, I
days.
felt like that went really well for you. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was the best show of our career together. So that one, Europe is amazing, but like so hard because the shows are super far apart. So it was like 8 hours to Leipzig and then 5.5 hours to Hagen. So I really made sure to give her a break, and it was a 10-day turnaround. So she had a good little vacation because I'd rather her be healthy and happy than tune her up every single day. So thank God for Leipzig and Hagen, Gunter flew out twice for me. Otherwise I would have turned around and gone home if he wasn't there for me. So he is, anything I do, any success I have, it's 100% his fault. I attribute it all to him.
Well, let's talk a little bit about how you got started in dressage. Did you always know that you wanted to ride horses, and was it always dressage for you?
Okay, I did not always know. Funny enough, I was thinking about this yesterday because I was like, how did I start this? I was a gymnast when I was 3 to 10, and I was trying to make the US team for that. But the sport got quite toxic, and I was very injured. And so my parents were like, you don't need to be a cripple the rest of your life. So they pulled me out, and I never found something I was as passionate about. I tried a ton of different sports that year. And the funny thing was, like, since I was little, I always collected horses. I watched every horse movie. I read every horse book, like everything that had to do with horses. I was obsessed. So I think horses somehow have been in my blood and in my heart since I was born. And finally, I broke my parents down and they let me ride a horse. Unfortunately for them. And
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was no looking back. I think I pet one horse and I was hooked for life. So I started, and it just happened to be a dressage barn. And so I started there. And then eventually, like 6 years later, Gunter and I found each other, and it's been amazing ever since.
Yeah. So how did you, like, when we talk about like these amazing coaches in our lives, like, how did you find Gunter, and how old were you then? And like, how did that then like move into, I mean, like, you read through your resume and it's just you're an awesome competitor, and you've just really found already like such a great coach and like great horses, and you're so focused on in the ring. And so like, how did that all come about?
Yeah. So I started with a local trainer here in San Diego, and she helped me just from the bottom up to young riders. And she was the one who helped me win my first young rider championship. But Gunter was the one who helped me find Sunday Boy. So my trainer knew Gunter and would lesson with him maybe once a month, and I got to go and watch and be starstruck while she took a lesson. And so eventually, after a couple, when I got Sunday Boy, I would take a lesson with him maybe every couple months. And then I got Wilton, and then it came the time where I was like, okay, I need to take the next step. And then I just kind of went to Gunter and I was like, hey, would you be willing to coach me? And thankfully he said yes. So, but up until then, it was a long road. It was 10 years, and sometimes we're good. Sometimes we're really, really hard. And I know it's so easy to paint this like picture of like, okay, I'm here now and I'm successful. And it was very hard. I thought about quitting a lot of times. I was one of those working students that I think all of us have been, and who was overworked, underpaid, underappreciated,
exhausted,
exhausted, just like burnout. For 5 years, I worked, 18-hour days and took care of 40 horse stables. So It doesn't just come. You don't just buy a horse and be successful. If you put Isabel Worth on a donkey and you put my cousin on Bella Rose, Isabel would kick his butt. You know what I mean? So it's a complete misconception. You don't just get a horse and you're good. You have to train for years and years and years. And it takes, my dad always says, it takes a decade to be an overnight success. And that's a little bit what happened with my career. So I was training for 10, 13 years. And then I was very blessed to be able to come upon some nice horses. And then we were able to be successful with the right coaching, with the right horses. But it really took a lot of time, a lot of struggle and heartbreak and pain and suffering and so much failure. I can't even tell you. But honestly, without failure, there's no success. So in a way, I've learned so much to take so much positive out of failure through all of this.
Yes. And like your dad sounds like a pretty amazing man. So it sounds like maybe he's also had some great advice for you, like having such an incredible family, because your mom's also an Olympic athlete as well. So like greatness kind of is just like in your aura over there. But like, how do you think that's been helpful to you, kind of navigating through like the hard times too?
Yeah, I think, again, so much of anything you do, any career you pick is mental, especially athletics. And if you don't take care of your mental health, the physical and the success is not going to be there for you. Or if it is, it's not going to be happy. So they really taught me from the bottom, first of all, what you find your identity in. If you find it in winning gold medals and blue ribbons, you're going to be miserable because, as you and I know, they are few and far between.
Right.
So you better not find your happiness in winning. You have to love the training. You have to love the horses. And if you don't, this is the wrong sport for you. And just the mindset of, they let us do whatever sport we wanted and they supported us, but we had to give 100%, whatever we did. And that there was no excuses. There was no exceptions. If we didn't give 100%, we were pulled out and we had to pick to do something else. So, just taking that into my sport and into my life in general they are the reason I am who I am today, really.
And do you have brothers and sisters?
I do. I have 5 siblings and we all play sports.
That's so great.
Yes.
Where are you on the birth order?
I'm the second oldest, so I'm kind of the mama. I always say, like, I don't need kids now because I basically have had 5.
And a 40-horse stable. So like that, and like managing, so like managing that, it's like, okay, we're good.
I'm good. I know. I lived like my later years already, so now I get to live my younger years with my career.
That's not a bad way to do it.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, and like, what kind of advice can you give to people? I do think like the whole burnout thing is really prevalent in like, I mean, it's really everywhere, but I think really a lot in riding. And like, what kind of advice would you give someone younger who, I mean, it's always that hard balance of like, you have to work hard and you have to put the time in, and you do have to struggle, like struggle is part of success. But like, how do you find that self-respect and that place to pull back for your mental health? Like, how do you find that balance?
I think the number one thing is who you're working with is super important. And that's something I love and respect so much about you. I know so many people who have worked with you and just how incredible of an experience you gave them, truly.
That's great.
And yeah, because a lot of times what I see with the young riders, they go and they're working students and the trainers completely abuse that authority and that free work. And I'd say if you're in that situation, it's not worth it for the training you're getting. Like, get out of there and go find something you love. Because the reason they do it is because it's like, oh, I get a lesson once a week and this person's so good. Well, if they were good, they would be giving you lessons as they said they would, and they wouldn't be overworking you. So there is a point to, you have to, I mean, work your butt off and absolutely try your hardest. But if you're being taken advantage of, you need to get out of that situation is the number one thing. And then the number two thing is for me, especially when I have very heavy schedules, I have to have things outside of the barn that I love doing, like something that does not include a horse, because you're just going to get driven crazy. I think as much as we love them, you have to like pick up surfing or hiking or biking, or like find a Netflix show you like, or go take a cooking class, like do something outside of the barn, because then it's also going to make you want to come back to the barn and love it more. So you have to have interests and things that just let yourself relax or let yourself get your mind off of it. Go take up painting or something.
I love that. That's great advice. And speaking of having other talents, you are also quite the singer. And I think I read that you actually sang on your own freestyle music. Like, that's totally amazing. And I don't think we've like ever had anyone who's been able to do that. So tell me about this other like freaking hidden talent that you have of like, oh, and then she's like Grand Prix rider. Oh, and then she's also this amazing singer. I was like, oh my God, this girl is like amazing.
I always say it's my fallback plan in case riding doesn't pan out.
Yeah. Well, so far so good.
It's going okay, but we'll see. There's still time. Singing is another one of my passions, and I'm so lucky that I have two, because I know a lot of people have a hard time even finding one. And I'm a worship leader, and I sing, like my friends play at bars and stuff, so I'll go join them and everything. But I was doing the freestyle, and freestyles are my favorite thing in the world because it's my two passions together.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I saw yours.
It's so fun
too. It's so good.
It's so fun. Yes. Yeah. It's like the best of both worlds.
It is. I love it. And the fans love it, which is the biggest thing, honestly.
Yeah. Well, and like bringing joy to people is like just wonderful, like through the horses. And then like for you to mix it in with your music, like when did you start? Like, how do you know? I think we all like sing alone in the car, but like, how did you know, like, oh my gosh, like I'm actually really good at this, and I'm going to also do this too and ride horses?
Yeah. I think really I had a piano teacher, and she forced me up on stage one time, and I did not want to be up there, and she made me sing and people didn't hate it and cover their ears. And I was like, okay, well, I guess it was all right.
Like, how old were you at this point?
I was about 16 at that time. And so the next 6 years I led worship in church, and it's every Sunday. So it's like doing a live concert every Sunday. So you really get over your nerves fast, and you have to just do it. So I developed my singing skills over that time. And then we started doing freestyles, and I started singing with Wilton's freestyle, because that's the first one I made. Sunday Boy, I got to steal Gunter's, so that was really special. Because Sunday Boy used to be his horse, so I wanted to like keep it like a tribute to Gunter as well with the freestyle. But yeah, Wilton's, I did a cover of Hallelujah just for fun with my friend, and I was like, why don't we use this for the rock music? And we threw it in there, and it was really cute. And then for Divas, like it was big time. It was Grand Prix, it was in Europe.
Yeah,
I was like,
yes.
I just did it for fun. I was like, I'm just going to record a little bit of Dynamite, which is my freestyle music, and just have it in my back pocket. And so we made the freestyle, and I was like, can we maybe put this in? Can we throw this in there? Just see how it sounds? And I did, and Gunter hadn't heard any of it yet. And so we practiced it, and he loved it. So we kept it in, and people loved it. And so I added a little bit more, and it's been something that's been so fun and so different and unique. And I definitely am going to keep it up. I have to decide if I want to do it in every freestyle or if I should give it a break. I also play piano. So I'm thinking of playing piano for Fiantini's freestyle, but I'm not sure. So we'll see. But
that's okay. Okay. I love it. And don't you think that there's like a real connection between like musicality and like just being musical and horses? Like there's just so 100%. Much like with that just rhythm and just, and even like playing in a band, that like everyone's kind of, together
and gelling,
creating this something special is really, I've always found that like I love dancing, and I had to play the saxophone growing up. So,
that's cool.
Like just me being musical, and then it's just like I always think if I could ride my normal Grand Prix as well as I ride my freestyle, I gotta like
Same,
keep,
girl.
yeah, I'm like,
I
if I could
know.
just like, listen to my music before I go in on Friday before, or whatever, Thursday
Yes,
before Friday Night Lights, it seems to help.
that's awesome. And I think like rhythm is one of the first step on the pyramid too for horses. And it's the same thing with
Yeah.
music. So I really think, like you said, it goes hand in hand, really.
Yeah. So tell us all about your horses that you've had. Like I know, okay, like Sunday Boy was amazing and like kind of your big breakout star. And then there was Wilton, who was not
Yes.
so easy. So, I mean, I think it's like everyone watching and listening, they again, like we see like the big success of the World Cup, and then it's like it's so fun to hear like you're like, no man, like working student,
Yeah.
blood, sweat, and tears,
Yeah.
18-hour days, like everyone, like you do have to work hard at it, and like all horses are difficult, like you're saying, like Isabel Worth, and it's like, I mean, it's supposed to look easy. That's like the whole point,
Yes.
but we know it is not easy. So tell us a little bit about like the horses and what you think you've really like gained from having them in your life.
Yes. So the last couple of years are what turned me into a woman, let me tell you. So here we go. So I had Sunday Boy and he started my career. And then I went on to Wilton, and he's also one of the horses I never should have bought, really. I was young, I didn't know what I was doing, and I trusted someone, and it was the wrong horse. So we had to make the best of what we had. And he was a jazz, he had a screw loose, he's a rearer, he's scared, he backed up the entire ring in the piaffe. But he truly, that horse taught me how to be a professional rider. Because by the end of our career together, that horse fit me like a glove. At home, I could do absolutely anything on him. And at shows, he'd still spook at cameras and ruin our tests. But in the end, it's like he had a genuine problem. So I couldn't blame him for that. But how difficult he was is what made me a professional. And then I got a Dutch horse named Don Diego. Unbelievable, 18 hands, trotted bigger than Fio. And he actually came with an injury we didn't know about. And 3 weeks in, he went lame. And then we just started doing surgeries just so he could live in a pasture the rest of his life, just so he could stand. And we did 2 surgeries over 6 months, and he couldn't stand. He couldn't walk on his leg. He couldn't live without being in pain. And so we put him down. Yeah. And I didn't announce it because the dressage world is also quite the horse world. It's small. Everybody talks. And I didn't want people to think I put him down for insurance, when in fact I had no insurance on him because he was so injured for so long. So he was my next top horse. Oh. And that is actually how I got Diva. So we put him down 2020 during the pandemic. And we were like, I'm out of horse, we're out of everything. And so we just got her off a video from the Balkanals just to have a horse to show in the Grand Prix. We were like, oh, this is a cute little horse. I'm gonna go get a dressage experience, Grand Prix experience. Yeah. Turns out she's my superstar. But so that's where she came out of. And that's why on social media I just gush about her, because she's literally my miracle mare. She came out of such a devastating time. And she got me through so much. And what's so sweet, she reminds me so much of Sunday Boy. So our first year together, Sunday Boy got an infection. And while I was in Florida, he passed away. And so this was 4 months after Donnie passed away. Oh. And so she literally was getting me through the death of 2 of my horses. And while we were like working on my first Grand Prix career or season together. And she's so much like him. And so he got me through, Sunday Boy got me through that extreme burnout, depression stage that you go through in horses. And then she got me through my horses passing away. So it's really sweet how much she's done for me. And then I got a 5-year-old mare that year. And she just passed away in December, right before I went to Florida, because she had tumors. Oh
my gosh.
I know. So 3 horses in 11 months. Something like that. Oh, and all the meantime, I'm having my first Grand Prix season, and I'm going to Europe, and I'm doing good in Europe, and I'm failing in Europe, So it was not easy. It's not smooth.
Yeah, it's never like the
No,
trajectory is just uphill. Like
exactly.
up, down, up.
Exactly. So that was my 2021. And then going into 2022, I just felt like a woman who's been through
I
war.
love that. You're like, it made me a woman.
I made me a woman. So I really got to take that into 2022. And especially, and then on top of that, and then I was blessed to get Fientini. And then again, the rumor mill and the talking, and that this year really taught me how to just not worry about what people are saying and what they're thinking, because they're all going to talk, they're all going to say something. And I'm just like, why am I so worried? All that matters is what my family and my coach and I think.
Yeah. And like what's actually happening, right?
Yes.
Like what is actually the truth, you know? And it's like, I know we always like think about those sayings of like, you know, what other people think of you as like none of your business. And it's like, yeah, but it's hard to like not get in, you know, but then it's also like, yeah, but it's like whatever, you know, it's like, I know what's happening and I know what's going on and I know my plan and that's all that really matters. So just whatever. But
yeah, it's true. But you
done.
have to, and you have to really go through it to come out on the other side of that. I think it's not just like stop worrying about what people are thinking. It's like you have to go through people talking crap about you for a long time, and then you're like,
and then you're like,
it doesn't matter,
and you really care about it. You know, like I am really caring about this. And then I'm gonna cry about this, and then I'm gonna be okay. Like eventually, I'm gonna like crest over that hill of like, okay, it doesn't really matter, but
you
the process to get there. It is so 100%. True. Yeah. So, I think, you know, like when we talk about like your horse partners, like that was really touching and difficult to hear, like all the losses, you know, and like what texture that has brought to your life and how sweet these successes are, because like, again, like we don't know that you went through that, you know, and it's like what was really happening in the background was like a lot of loss and, you know, just everything that goes wrapped up into each of those different horses, like one, wonderful memories, you know, one, dreams not able to come, you know, and then a young horse, like that's the worst, like, you know, the worst. But also like having someone in your life as a mentor, like Gunter, like how, like tell us about your relationship with him and, just, you know, your relationship and what you cherish about that.
Yeah. Again, I can't gush over him more because, again, like a lot of young riders who have come out of tough situations, I was one of them. So I really feel like his little rescue puppy at first. And he didn't just save my career, he saved my life in so many ways. And he changed my life. And there's this quote that I love, and it's like, a good coach can change a game, but a great coach can change a life. And he's a great coach. And his just wisdom and his like even keel German temper is unbelievable. Like nothing phases him. Even when I wanted to, I'm like, are you not upset about this? Come on.
Yeah.
And he's just like, exactly. Can we get upset about this for a second or like talk about this? But he's so even tempered, and he brings that to the horse. Some of the best advice I remember out of all the like technique and stuff he's given me is to not train emotionally, because it won't get you anywhere no matter what. Like don't let the horse feel your emotions. You can feel them, but don't bring them out in the horse. And that's who he is, and that's how he trains. And just really, I mean, he's been to 3 Olympics. He's a little bit older than me, so he's experienced a lot more life. And he's given me so much wisdom and knowledge that I carry with me every day, on and off the horse.
Yeah, and it's like to also like not just have someone like tell you things as a coach, but actually like he is that, what he preaches, you know, like what he talks about, like he lives that, like he is just amazing on a horse. And totally, the whole German non-emotional, I am witnessing that every day. And
girl, like, when I was in Germany,
oh my God, I'm like,
it is hardcore.
It's hard. I'm like, I gotta work on that.
Yeah.
Cause I'm like excited all the time, and,
Same.
yeah, the Germans are like, I'm
Yes.
like, oof, yeah, yes, I need
Focus.
to like
Serious.
tone it down. I need to tone it down.
I know, we're so different.
I know. I'm like the loud American. I was like, okay, just can I be like less American? But then I'm like, oh, that's just like who I am.
I
I'm
know,
happy. I
it's who
can't
we
help
are.
it. Yeah, exactly.
We're fun. We're gonna go to for fun.
We are fun.
Yes.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, that's just so cool. Like, not only does he like help you become that, but you can also like witness that in him, which is also like super inspiring. So, like, how often do you work with him? Like, I know you spend some time in Florida and then also like at home. Like, how does that work?
Pretty much every day, and then I just rotate the horses so the horses get days off, of course. But
Yeah.
Monday through Saturday, pretty much, we'll do at least a lesson or two a day, and yeah, it's incredible. And then it's funny because after Europe, like Diva's on vacation right now, she's taking a break since she's not going to WEG or a shortlist for WEG, and I didn't see him for maybe 2 weeks because I was like prepping my young horses for him. And we saw each other and we just like hugged for like a minute.
You're like,
we hadn't
I
seen
miss
each other
you.
in 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so funny. And people were like, have you not seen him in a year or something? I was like, no, just 2 weeks.
I love it.
But yeah, we see each
great.
other all the time. We text all the time. We send each other funny videos, and he's one of my best friends.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So going back to like finding a horse, like what do you look for? Like, and what kind of advice could you give to people? Like what is your checklist when you go, looking for a horse that you think, you might want as your like next partner?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. For me, again, I mean, so basic, but 3 good gaits. It doesn't have to be the flashiest mover of all time, but it has to have a good hind leg and it has to have enough knee. Like I got to see something, because a lot of people are like,
yeah,
just 3 good gaits and it can move super small. And I'm like, it needs to move a little big. So it definitely needs to be somewhat of a good quality mover. And I love a horse that's just solid mentally. If I get on a horse and it's like, I tried a horse and I loved it so much this year. And if I could just buy it with apples or something, I would have brought it home. But if money was no object, but it was just, every time it was its home arena, and every time it passed C, it looked at it, and I'm like, you've been in this arena every day for the past 5 years. Imagine what it's going to do at a World Cup. It's not. It's going to go in there and turn around.
Yeah. Well, and like, don't you feel like once you've ridden in a big venue like that, like your standard changes because it's like, this is real, and like you better not spook at that chair that's there all the time. It's like, because global is not that easy, but compared to the World Cup, it's like a walk in the park.
Right, exactly.
And
so that's 100% something I never thought of that much before. I would think of like global or even like Rotterdam or something, but I'm like, this horse would never make it to World Cup ever. And some horses, of course, are just not indoor horses, like. But in general, I want it to be brave, and I want it to be just kind of a warrior heart, and just a great work ethic. And if you have 3 good gaits and brave, really is something I just love. And I can with Gunter, we can take a lot of things. I don't like him super lazy, but again, if it's gonna go and be competitive, I'll take anything. It can be purple with polka dots and lazy as heck, but if it's gonna win something, I want it,
Me too. I'm on board with that.
Like, of course, I love a hot horse and I love a ladies ride, and but if it's not going to win, it doesn't matter. So if it's competitive,
if I have to kick it, we can do that.
Exactly. What am I saying? Gelding mare, stallion, whatever. I don't care. If it's competitive, I want it.
I love it. And like, what would you say too about like a rider quality? Like, what do you find that you work on personally in yourself, and what do you think makes a good rider?
Yeah. So much of what Gunter teaches is just a good seat. Really. That's where everything comes from. a good seat and a good position. And if you have that, that's going to be your foundation for absolutely everything.
How did you get a good seat? Because you're a beautiful rider. So how did you do that?
It started off riding a lot of bareback, actually. I rode ponies and I'd ride them bareback, and that just everywhere on trails, cantering, galloping. That really helped me develop a good seat. Riding a ton without stirrups when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then I had a pony, and he bucked me off every other day, and he was super bouncy. And I rode that thing bareback without stirrups, just over and over and over, and just making sure your heels are down and you're sitting in and you're sinking deep. Just doing hours and hours and hours of it and making sure it's correct while you're doing it. And then Gunter really helped me polish it up. And I'm sure you hear, but I always in my head just like, sit down. Like, in his German accent, I'm sure you've heard it over there. Yeah. It's like in my brain forever,
Well, and it's so funny. Like, that's all I've heard over here from everyone. It's like if I'm taking a lesson or if I'm watching my friend take a lesson with somebody else, like everyone is just like, sits in, like sit on the horse. And you're like, I thought it kind of looked pretty good, but you can go deeper. You can really get in there.
Okay, you're right.
I guess, I know, somehow I wasn't sitting, but that's weird, but I wasn't. And like, what do you think about, like working out, like rider fitness? I mean, after being like a gymnast, I mean, that's incredible. And I would really think that would be a really, positive attribute, to be so trained physically. And like, do you still think that that's really important? And what kind of workout program do you do?
Yeah, I'm huge into rider fitness. Honestly, I wouldn't be the rider I am if I didn't work out the way I did. And I wouldn't be able to buy the horses that I want to accomplish the goals that I want if I wasn't working out like I do.
Fit. Yeah.
So it really started with Sunday Boy. I got him when I was 17. And the first couple months I was like, I'm not fit enough to ride this horse. I'm not strong enough to ride this. Like when my teacher asked me to do something, I wasn't able to do it, or I needed to take walk breaks, and I like wasn't worthy of him. And I never wanted to feel that way again. And so I really started on this huge kind of workout frenzy. And for me, I think especially if you're just starting working out, or even if you've been working out a long time, you have to find things you love doing. So for me, like cardio and strength is huge because that's the biggest things we do on the horse. But in order to maintain a healthy workout life, you have to find things you love. So if that is boxing, Pilates, swimming, hiking, or just gym work and having a personal trainer, which I also have, you just have to do something really. And also for me as well, like kind of on an ethical level, I think if you don't work out, or some people don't have time, and I understand that too. Sometimes they're riding 15 horses a day, but again, that's a workout. So you're doing the same thing. If you don't work out or do 20 horses a day, then you don't understand what the horse is going through, and you don't understand soreness. You don't understand being out of breath. I think there's an empathy level and a knowledge level of fitness and working out your horse that you need to have. And that can only be done by doing it yourself.
Girl, you are speaking my language. Yes. I mean, yeah. I mean, how many days, when you go to work out that you're just like, you just feel like lead in your feet, and you just like, I just can't, like just, you do it, but you're like, I just feel like in my body. Or after the workout, like, oh, I'm sore here, or I worked out harder in my legs today, and now I know how my horse feels, after pirouettes. I totally agree that there's a real sense of like, and muscle building. And I think, the same with our mental health, as far as like what you were saying too, like do something else, like go swim or read a book or watch a Netflix thing, or just do whatever you want separate. It's the same kind of for our muscles. It's like if we just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, it's like that's bound to then eventually wear out and we need to balance those muscles. It's like we always talk about like balance and for the horse, like, oh, it needs to be balanced on the hind legs and all that too. But it's like everything in life is a balance, like we got to make sure our different riding muscles, are balanced with, better core muscles, or it's like everything all has to kind of be, balanced and, kind of physically too. So what kind of advice would you give to like a young rider looking to become a professional and like follow in your footsteps?
Yes. I would say make sure you have a good mentor or people you can go to for advice, because they have been down your road and they know the mistakes that you should avoid so you can avoid them. Just don't be afraid to reach out for help. There's like no shame in reaching out for help. And I think it's only positive to, if you see someone doing what you're wanting to do, then like ask them questions. Really, you can never ask too many questions. Work harder than everybody else. Really. If you can, if someone's doing something and you're like, if you're focused, if you want it, like outwork them, outwork people, work hard for it. Be very loyal to your clients, go above and beyond for them. And then also like use social media nowadays to get clients if you want, like make the videos, make the whatever you can do, whatever your strength is, show it off. And, work by referral. If you have a client, be like, hey, if you know someone riding, if you know someone who wants to get into it, just network, ask for referrals, work your butt off, and the clientele will come, and you just be very faithful with the clients you have. Really, whatever clients you get, be so faithful with them that they can't help but recommend you to other people.
Great advice. Great advice. All right. So now I got like 3 short questions here at the end. Quick fire. Okay. What is your favorite book?
Ooh, there is a book called The Purpose-Driven Life, and it's amazing. It's for literally everybody in this world should read the book. If you're doing good, if you're doing bad, if you are drifting in life, if you are focused, it is so encouraging. It's so positive. It's so uplifting. It's incredible.
And what is the title again?
The Purpose-Driven Life.
Okay. I love it. Great. At a competition, what can't you live without?
Music and podcasts.
Nice.
Yeah.
In like preparation for your, I love it.
Yep.
And you probably already said this one, but what is your favorite quote or saying?
Oh, for riding, it'd be "Don't train emotionally." That's just the best quote.
And for life?
And for life, don't give up.
I love it. Well, best of luck to you in your next ventures. What's next for you? What's coming up next?
Right now, I am just prepping all the horses for next season. So Diva will be showing in November in the thermal shows. We're so excited to have California shows. And then we'll see when Fiantini and I are ready to finally get out there.
That's exciting. Do you plan to come back to Wellington for the season?
That's the goal as of right now. So I never tell the horses because, it's like, tell God your plans to make them laugh. Yes. Well, tell your horses your plans and watch them laugh.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Then there's like a little bit of a
exactly. Going on. So I'm like, I'm not telling you guys anything. Yeah. We're just riding.
We're just training every day.
Exactly.
We'll let you know the morning of.
You're gonna find out when you're on the plane.
Exactly. I totally get that. I totally get that. Well, best of luck to you, and thank you so much. This was a wonderful, delightful conversation, and we wish you the best, and we can't wait to see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Would you like to learn to communicate in a way that your horse can better understand? Check out Team Tate Academy, JJ's online classical dressage academy. As a member, you'll gain clarity through the USDF-accredited lesson library, monthly Zoom meetings, and twice-monthly live study groups called the Tack Room Chats. Join the community and benefit from connecting with a fun, passionate, and like-minded group of dressage lovers just like you. Be supported and empowered to make the progress you and your horse deserve, regardless of age, level, or background. Be inspired. JJ's commitment to your success shines through in every lesson and lecture. Let JJ's belief in you and your horse transfer over to every one of your rides. Visit teamtateacademy.com/podcast today to find links to join our monthly Zoom meetings, purchase mini courses and live stream replays, and of course, join the waitlist for the next open enrollment. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Dressage Life with JJ Tate. Make sure to tell your friends that they can find us wherever they get their podcasts, and be sure to subscribe, like, and leave feedback to help other dressage lovers inspire their rides too. For more information and education from JJ Tate, make sure to visit teamtateacademy.com/podcasts. Once there, take the next step towards joining JJ's new generation of classical riders by signing up for our mailing list, and we'll say thanks by sending you a special gift, your own copy of JJ's ebook, Riding Your Horse Sound, a comprehensive guide to developing a healthy and happy dressage partner. The podcast you just listened to is produced and powered by Red Mare Enterprises, creating possibilities through branding, modern digital solutions, and project management. We know the horse industry inside and out.